Here we are playing the Merkava Mk.3D. You probably already decided if you want to keep this thing or not, but I do recommend that if you just got this thing, to not play it for the first week at least, because your team will be filled with these tanks, and the problem with that is they will not have a lineup. They probably knew the top tier, because a lot of people grinded this thing by simply playing tier 3, maybe tier 4, maybe even low, maybe even tier 2, they play the Steward. They will have one tank in the lineup, they will get this thing, they will die, they will leave the game, and now you are down one teammate, while you're facing the Russians who have 7 spawns each, or at least most of them do. So keep that in mind if you try to spam this thing out early on. Overall, I would call this thing basically a defensive MBT, and before you get triggered because I call this thing a defensive MBT, because I do know that a lot of people in real life call this thing a defensive MBT when there's no such thing, but this is a game and your mobility is pretty lacking compared to the rest. And if you try to flank with this thing, there's a very big chance you're going to get caught off guard. Whereas if you hold down, this turret is actually pretty bouncy overall. Of course it isn't perfect like say the STRV 122, but the turret is definitely commendable. It's very similar to the Ariette, and I would call this thing basically an American Ariette with a better lineup, of course, because you are still in the American tree. You got the best shell in the game with some mediocre mobility, and that's where the similarities end, but in very crude lines you play them very similarly. This thing is a little bit more survivable, but because the turret is in the back of the tank, if you try to peek out to shoot someone, you will have to expose basically all of your tank. If you try to reverse peek, there's 2 ammo racks below your turret, so side peeking isn't really a thing in this thing. You do have the engine in the front, which might stop some AA shells, might stop some heat and some very low caliber APDSFS. But if you get some of the main MBT shooting at you and it's going to go into the engine, it's actually going to create more spalling, killing you instantly. So it's a bit hit or miss in that regard. Ariette also has a little bit better thermals. Other than that, I think they play very similar. Only the Ariette you will be a little bit more sneaky, and this thing you can brawl a little bit more as it's a little bit more survivable, as long as you hold down at least. And then we have the main problem of the Ariette, which is the lineup, which this thing completely fixes. You got M1 Abrams, you got AH-1Zs, you got Apaches, you got the ADATs, you got a lot of stuff in your lineup. And this makes it so that if you die, you can easily come back. Of course, a lot of you guys will actually not have the lineup and will just be here with only the Merkava. And to you guys I send my prayers, because there's not much more I can do. In general, what I do is I get a defensive position, I push up, I wait a bit, I shoot some people and I push up again. And you can see that in this video as well. We drove up until the middle flag, we parked it there, we got a good position, we were held down a little bit because of the defilade, and we just started shooting into the road of the enemy team. Kill some people, enemy team dies, we push up, and now we're in the spawn. And it's basically as easy as that, and this is how the game is going to end. I'm just going to be sitting here, I'm going to be driving out, and you can see that I have to expose quite a bit of my tank to get that shot in. Of course I only got a crit there, but it still shows that this thing is not without flaws. It's a good looking tank, it's a good tank, that's a very good gun. But there are some things you have to keep in mind, and it's especially the mobility and in my opinion the turret placement that are kind of annoying in this thing. But of course that's all subjective and you'll have to figure that one out on your own. Do I think you should keep this thing or sell it? It's also kind of up to you. Do you enjoy this kind of playstyle? Do you have plenty of tanks in the German line or in the American line? Because if you do, then this might be a good addition. If you don't, it might be a good grinder for you. So you have to kind of look at your own needs and decide what you want, instead of me telling you what to do. You've already probably looked at multiple videos right now to see if you want this thing or not. You probably already made up your mind and you're just looking at stuff, or you're just watching this video because you like my content or whatever. But I think the majority of you guys will actually be interested in this tank. So I will have some more gameplay after this. I'm just gonna cut it out after this little bit, because I'm just sitting near the spawn waiting for them to drive out, and this isn't very enticing. So instead I'm gonna show you some gameplay of me pushing out, holding W like a spastic and getting some kills, because that's basically what I've been doing in this thing. And right now I'm just looking for people. I tilt my camera up a little bit so that I can see further into the battle. This guy shoots, makes it a very easy spot of course, because well, he's just driving in the open. Shoot the side of his tank. 2 crew member, only has 3, and that means he's instantly dead. Russian tanks are pretty easy to kill as long as the T80 thing blows up, the ammo rack, because some of the times he just decides it doesn't blow up and then he turns around and kills you. Shoot the barrel over there so I can push up. I think there's not much else here, but I want to make sure that he doesn't peek out as I'm driving and looking to the right and then kill me, and I had nothing else to shoot anyway. So this guy is crippled now, I'm pushing up, making sure that he's going to die. Shoot him right into the driver's port, weak spot of the T80, and that's him out of the match as well, and that's 3 kills just by holding W basically. Of course you do have to stop here and there to not get caught off guard, and in general you just want to use your 3D spotting this thing isn't the best on urban maps like this. It does have that big old gun, but your mobility is kind of lacking. But there you go. Brawling sometimes when people shoot your turret might actually be a little bit exciting. Got a bit lucky there because he probably didn't know where to shoot. If he had shot my engine there, I probably would have died. But he shot my turret. He shot my barrel actually. Maybe volumetric shells is what got him. And it managed to not really damage me. And I could just return the favor and shoot a shell right in his cockpit. Shoot the viewport, kind of bounce off the right of it. Fly into his breach. He's breached now, but he's in the smoke. I'm just going to try one more shot. Try to spot him with my MG. Shoot a little bit too low. Bounce another shot. Try to get in cover so I don't get third partied. And then, well, I just wait for the smoke to dissipate basically. I see someone behind me. Deciding if I should push up or not. And then I get shot by someone I didn't see. I smoke up and I obviously survived. No, I died. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Took about 4 shells to kill me. So I'm not going to bore you with 20 seconds of me sitting there. But, you know, I'm not going to cut that out. Because that's just what happens on urban maps. You're there. There's a lot of angles people can come from. And when you get caught off guard with those kind of angles, if someone just pushes out, there's so many angles they can come from. You simply just die. Unless when they bounce and then you can anticipate the next push. But that's not what happened. So I died. Pushing up on Ash River. I know there's 2 guys on the left there. One just died. Looking for the second one. Get in the defilade. Make sure to look on the right first to make sure that I didn't die. To some guy across the map. Shoot the other guy. Turns out there's a third one as well. So right now I push up a little bit in the defilade. I smoke up and then I move a little bit more just so that he don't really easily find me with his gun. Because if you get shot and you instantly press repair and you stay stationary, all he has to do is just shoot again and he might pen you and then kill the rest of your crew. So break some line of sight, move a little bit so he doesn't easily find you and then start repairing. I'm also capturing the point right now, so I'm getting some ticket bleed in the enemy team. I'm going to repair a little bit fast, I'm going to get my smoke back and I'm going to get my crew member back. And that crew member is something I definitely want back because the Merkava is definitely reliant on that survivability. And so I want some extra crew members to up that survivability again. Make the thing you're good at even better, and that's something that's nice for results. So all in all, I got all my crew members, got all my smoke, and I got all my shells, and I got a kill out of it, and the cap. So overall, not a very bad trade at the moment. And now I'm going to be ignoring the guy in front, because I'm kind of in the defilade here, so he shouldn't be having the easiest shot to kill me. He just shoots over me through the smoke, which is a bit unfortunate, and this kind of makes me aware of him paying attention. I don't know if he actually sees me, if he's hacking, or if he's just shooting through the smoke. I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to assume he's not hacking, but I'm not going to risk it. There's a guy across the map. I just crit him, just shoot him again. Not a really big problem. There's an Abrams next to me. He got tracked, so he's definitely getting shot. I'm going to try to shoot over the engine deck of the Abrams. And that's another kill in. And now the Abrams gets shot. There's another guy next to him as well. I get tracked. What do I want to do? Just drive forward, because my right track is damaged. And if I drive forward, my tank is going to bank away a little bit, so that I get out of his line of fire. Of course, sadly, the Abrams was blocking me and it might have gotten me killed. Luckily he didn't. And when I say blocking, I know it's not his fault, but he was blocking me. T-34 across the map, not really a problem. He probably wouldn't even have, he wouldn't have been able to kill me anyway. And the BMP was just not paying attention. And what can I do? Otherwise, I'm just sitting in a defensive position, trying to hold this cap at all cost. And whatever drives in front of me across the map is just an easy picking. And that's definitely something I'm going to take. Make sure there's no one watching me. Of course you never know completely sure, but giving it a good look never hurts. Peek the other side of the rock, because everyone is looking at the other side as my whole team is there, and I peeked there multiple times as well as the Abrams. So switching up your peek now and then might catch someone off guard. Of course it could have easily gotten me killed, and just like that. Luckily my engine took the brunt of the damage, and that's complete bullshit, you know, because the crew member is in front of it and somehow didn't die. But hey, I'm not complaining, but that's something about the survivability, the whole tank on the front. Say I was facing the other way and he shot an ATGM at me, it would have saved my crew member completely and only killed my engine in the short run. But the front of the tank is basically empty. The back of it, however, is completely littered with crew, ammo and other things you don't want to get blown up. So try to peek with the front, if possible try to peek with your right hand front, so that the engine might take a little bit of damage. The only problem is of course that the turret is so far back, as I mentioned earlier, that sometimes you have to expose a little bit more of your turret than you might like to. And that's basically all I have for you today. I'm just gonna let this gameplay play out. I'm gonna be doing some more tank videos in the near future. I got some SCLV and I got the Leclerc coming up. I'm not too sure when I'm gonna be doing those because I still need to play them. But for now I thought a nice little tank video would be a nice change of pace, as I said in the last video as well. So, hope you enjoyed this little thing. Don't think they're gonna be too common, because there's not too many tanks I want to cover. Because quite frankly, low tier bores me to death. And there's not too many high tier tanks that I want to play. So don't worry, it's not gonna completely take over my channel. I'm not gonna start doing like holy shit, variety gameplay. I'm just gonna focus on RLB. I just like doing this now and then. And if you guys enjoyed it as well, then why not just upload it? I'm just gonna let the rest play out. It's not very long anymore. Have a nice weekend and see ya.